So I'm obviously super sweaty and red because baby kicked my ass. It was a great class. First time doing sculpt. I think, like I said, I kept up with the first part of it. The second part was harder. I realized that my left is a lot weaker than my right. Should have taken it easy, and every time you do a first class, you should just let go with. Anyway, thank you, AB.
Welcome to Move, Sweat, Discover. Today we are here with Juliette Louie. Almost like Juliette Lewis.
Yeah.
Juliette Louie.
There is a Juliette Lewis out there.
There is, yes, exactly. Welcome to Move, Sweat, Discover. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
A pleasure.
So we met just a couple of weeks ago at a event.
Yes.
And I remember walking up to you. We had a friend in common.
Yeah.
And then you told me what you did. I'm an actress. It's like, oh God, here we go.
Damn, we have a bad rep.
But then you talked about your knee injury and that you were in pageants. And within that few minutes, I kind of knew that I had to have you on the podcast to talk about your journey.
Yeah.
You have great energy.
Thank you.
You're an actress, you're a model, you're a pageant queen.
Comes all together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to kind of just go through a little bit of a roll call to introduce you to the audience. So as an actress, you've appeared on shows that feature on Netflix, Amazon Prime, and CBS.
Yeah.
And you have a supporting role in a feature film called After Her Smile.
Yeah.
Which I watched, by the way.
Get out.
Yeah.
Get out. Oh my God. That was my very first gig.
Really?
That's hilarious. Yes.
You play a very good drunk.
Thank you. I'm try.
Were you drunk on set? Method acting?
Method acting. I wish. It's so funny that you actually watched it because I remember going okay, there's I wasn't that bad for this being my first gig ever, right? And I was really surprised actually that I got the role because I had no resume going in and everything. But man, I just remember my primary concern that on set was more so ew, I did not like my makeup in hair. Sorry, but I was just oh man, I hope nobody watches it. And I can't believe you did.
But it's not Juliette. You're playing the character, right?
That's right.
It doesn't matter.
That's
it doesn't matter.
Yes.
You're inhabiting the drunk girl.
Yes.
So as a model, you've appeared in campaigns for brands like McDonald's, Cineplex, and Hyundai.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Hyundai,
And as a pageant queen, you were crowned Ms. Hong Kong 2017.
That's right.
I want to say that with a pageant voice. Miss Hong Kong 2017, the champion.
Thank you.
And within that, you were voted Miss Photogenic. I can see why.
Well, thank you very much.
Second runner-up for Miss Chinese International.
That's right.
2018. Also second runner-up for Miss Universe Hong Kong, 2024 this year, and voted Best Catwalk.
Yes.
And this one's
rightfully so.
Yes.
Yes,
okay.
rightfully so.
This one's my favorite. So we needed a little bit of a sidebar and explanation here, and I've saved this for the last specifically.
Oh.
Miss Face of Humanity.
Oh my God.
Hong Kong, second runner-up, most influential. So what is this pageant?
What is this Miss Face of Humanity?
Firstly, what is the Face of Humanity for you?
Oh my gosh. So Miss Face of Humanity, my year was the first year they ever launched this pageant.
Okay.
And, the owner would like to say it's not a pageant because it really isn't about the bikini walk. It really is about being the face of humanity, which is your campaign. So it's a bit like Miss World where they really care about, your advocacy, what you're fighting for, the causes and whatnot. Kind of turned out to be a scam.
Okay.
And but I'm glad I did it because I did meet a lot of international contestants, which, we're still really good friends. And that really also opened me up to international beauty pageants because out of all the ones that I've done, the rest are very local. They're done in Hong Kong, run in Hong Kong. That was very international in the sense where I finally understood the caliber international contestants bring, and it's a lot more competitive. Girls know how to do their own makeup and hair, you know, and then that's kind of like with Miss Universe Hong Kong, that was the mentality I was going in because, to be honest, once you're on the international stage, pageants are a lot more ruthless, a lot more competitive, a lot more, you know, you can't just offer being able to do a catwalk or a Q&A. You got to be the whole package, you know. And so, you know, as much as that was kind of scammy and didn't turn out to be like, you know, as good, I'm still glad I got to experience that. Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. The name is just
the name is crazy, but and it's, you know what I mean, like it's like everybody's always scratching their heads like what's face of humanity, right? So I think the message is very good, like because you know you are competing based on like the changes that you've made in someone else's life and stuff like that. But again, it didn't turn out the way it did. It should have.
But I mean, you've gone on to do a lot of things. So I mean, you've also done theater, hosting, coaching, and you're just getting started.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
You're a powerhouse.
I would say so. Yeah, we're getting there.
I love it. So what I want to know is like, how did you get your start? Were you an actress first? And then you kind of segued into the pageants kind of to launch that? Or did you go into the pageants and then the rest that kind of follows?
Right. So, I mean, if we talk about like the origin, I grew up in Hong Kong, right? And I've always been into dancing. I know that I was... there was a click in one of the lessons that I was in, and then I realized like dancing really, you could be bad at a skill, but if you have performance value, you could still sell yourself to the audience. You know, I had both. I'm not saying I had one, but so then I started really getting into it, and then in university, well, actually in high school, I got scouted to do to get into a triple arts threat art school, kind of like Juilliard, but in Toronto. And then my parents wouldn't let me, having like, you know, Chinese traditional parents. That's like, you know, you got to have a academic degree.
Yeah.
So then I did that. And even though my dream was to be a professional dancer, I even had an epiphany, begged my parents to send me to LA. And they were like, no, it's not happening. And I was like, okay, fine. I will do your damn degree.
Yeah.
And so I fast-tracked in 3 years, graduated, and I started to try to pursue dance again. But it was hard because, you know, you weren't training every day. You know, I still made it to a good level of, I guess, like auditions when I auditioned for the Raptors Dance Pack, which is the basketball team in Toronto. So I was like, okay, I still got it, but not at the skill, at the technical skill, you know? So then I missed the deadline. My dad was like, you know, the following year, he's like, you should try Miss Hong Kong. Because growing up here in Hong Kong, all my relatives are always like, oh, she's so tall, but like stop tanning. Because, you know, Chinese people like the pale, the more fair skin tone.
Yeah.
And then I did that because my dad's like, you should learn how to do makeup and be more of a woman. And I was always very on the sporty side. So I was like, okay. And then when I did it, I kind of had like no stress doing it because I didn't expect anything out of it other than just to do it. And when I won, that kind of changed and shifted things. I knew that I wanted to get into the acting space prior to winning Miss Hong Kong because I knew that dancing wasn't like, I didn't have that technical skill anymore, but acting could actually, it's also performance, right? And actually how I got into acting was that I met in Toronto Film Festival. It's called TIFF. And I went to a party. It really was one of those like discover moments. Right time, right place. I met this agent. He was one of the biggest in Toronto. The agency is called Noble Kaplan Abrams. And this Norbert, he kind of started talking with me. And then we hopped on a phone call the next day. And he's like, I need someone of your height, your ethnicity, but little mix, but, you know, has like, he's very specific, like sexy, but like also doesn't have a Chinese accent, you
Yeah.
know, that kind of stuff. And so I started getting into it. And then as a test run, he gave me auditions like Crazy Rich Asians.
Okay.
And then eventually, after I did the whole Miss Hong Kong and I paused that relationship for a bit, I came back to Toronto and he gave me auditions like Shang-Chi, like all these crazy big things. And I was just starting out. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's been 6 years now. And like within the 6 years, I've been doing everything else that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of how I got started.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Miss Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned that your dad suggested that you go up for it.
And he nominated me too.
Okay.
Yeah. Crazy.
And what was your mindset going into it? Like, you know, I know Miss Hong Kong also from growing up in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
And, you know, my cousin was part of it.
Cool.
She didn't make it in the end, but,
Yeah.
you know, she was there.
Yeah.
So I recognize that it's quite a big institution, I guess, you know, within like the Hong Kong household.
Yeah.
What was your mindset going into it? And like, did you ever want to be in pageants or?
It's so funny that you asked that because mindset's something that I talk about a lot. You know, I have my advocacy for the last couple of years is called No Bullshit Factory.
Yes. Yeah, I
right.
love
And
it.
that is about mindset. So going into Miss Hong Kong, I honestly was just more so like, okay, it would be fun because, you know, yeah, I'll learn a lot of things. There's no cost to go in Miss
Yeah.
Hong Kong. You know, I just graduated. I was working, and I love Hong Kong. I love coming back to my home country. And so I was like, cool, I'll do this. And so getting into it, it was just really chill. For me, the most important thing was to win back my airfare because
Okay.
they were saying how if you don't make the top 16 or whatever finals, then we won't reimburse you for the airfare.
Okay.
And I was like, well, you know, you just graduated, so you don't have money, right? And so when I got in, I was actually most excited about that. And then during the entire journey, I was surprised to see that, you know, I was always thinking in my mind, like, pageant girls, they work out, they, you know, their diet is, you know, strict, and, you know, it's all about beauty. And I was learning about the beauty side, but I was always working out. I was always getting fit because, you know, you want to look the best when you go on stage. But it wasn't the case with the mentality here because I think here girls think the only way to get skinny is like, of course, to work out, but they weren't lifting weights. They were just not eating. So they, instead of dieting properly, they just like cut on eating, which was basically starvation. And for me, I was just like, I had this very Western, I guess you can say, more mindset, more, you know, that kind of thinking. And then when I was in, I think the top 3, top 2, the minute I was on stage, I was just kind of like, okay, I came this far. I kind of want first place now. That's when I finally wanted to like actually win.
Right.
Not when during the entire competition, I knew I was like a hot topic because people were going like, oh my God, she's got abs, she's tall, she's like the odd one that flew from Canada to compete here. And then she's not the most Chinese one too, because at the time it'd been like a long time that I've been in outside of Hong Kong, so
Yeah.
my Cantonese was just like broken. But that can be learned, right?
Yeah.
And so when I did end up winning, I was like, great, this is awesome, you know, like, but I think I got over it very quickly
Okay.
because I'm one of those like, you know, okay, once I've attained one goal, what's next?
Right.
What's next? What's bigger? You know, and on
that.
the night that I won, when they interviewed me, I already said, they were like, what's next for you? I was like, I want to go to Hollywood. I want to be an actor. You know, like I had a very, I think what differs me or makes me different from other people is that I've always had a clear vision of what I want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than like maybe, you know, some years of like doubts, but like
Yeah.
most of the time it's like, yes, this is the industry I want to be in because this is what I'm most passionate about. Right.
So you're telling me you fluked your way to top 3, and then at top 3 you were like, yes, I'm gonna win this.
So like in top 3, okay, so when we came top 3, there was one girl that we kind of knew that was going to place third, because she, during the whole time, her whole journey, she wasn't really being hot topic or talked a lot.
Right.
So it was between me and Regina. And she and I were just standing there. And at that point, I was like, coming second would be awful. So I was like, yes, I want third. And when they called, yes, I want first.
Yeah.
And then when I got called first, I was like, yes, thank God. And it felt like kind of like I guess this is meant to be.
Right.
Because after the pageant, and during the pageant, I was like a big sister because I had the background performance in dance and singing and being on stage. And so it was so easy for me to retain any choreography, any routine. So a lot of girls always came up to me to ask, where do they go? Where do they, or how is this dance? And I ended up, helping them because, I'm Canadian. We're super friendly.
Friendliest people in the world.
And to be honest, the only thing I wanted to win for sure was Miss Friendship.
Okay.
Because I was like, oh, the Canadian inside of me, right? I didn't see Miss Photogenic coming up.
Yeah.
You can tell from when they called my face, I was like, oh, really? Thank you. Because we all thought it was like these other girls, right? So I think because I had the most experience already being a dancer and performance, I think I would like to say that's why I won. I would like to believe that.
Yeah.
Not because of whatever agenda and things like that. So, yeah.
Then do you not go on, because you won the title, right? Do you not then go on to Miss Universe or Miss World? As a youngster, I used to follow the
No,
pageants quite a lot.
and it's so true because I think that year, and for a couple of years, they hadn't nominated someone to go to Miss World. So I think Miss Hong Kong does not qualify for Miss Universe. You have to have a Miss Universe license and stuff. And I think Hong Kong that year decided to send someone to Miss World. And it should have been me. But, and it was me originally.
Okay.
So now there's like tea. So
right,
the tea,
the drama. Okay, here we go.
drama, the tea. The thing with Miss Hong Kong is that it's under TVB. They own the pageant. They own the entire TV station, the actors, the writers, the producers. They own almost everything. Not like in the US where, you have your own agency, then they send you to the networks, right? So here they have all that bargaining power and they're a monopoly here, right? And so one of the things that during the competition for Miss Hong Kong, I kept asking for my contract because I was curious to what I was responsible in paying and costs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we had signed it in the beginning, and naturally, I studied HR. So naturally, if I got crowned as first, second, or third, you get a new contract because it's like your position in the company changed. You're not just a candidate now. You're you have a.
It's like getting a promotion.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, I had been asking for this contract, and they kind of were always brushing it off, saying like, "Oh, just get it after the competition, after you win, or like let's just finish the competition first." And then it had been 2 months. Yeah, it had been 2 months. And me being back in Hong Kong after so many years, I don't know how shady TVB was. I don't know anything about this industry. I know the industry over there, but not over here. And so after I won, and after the whole, talking about contracts and having a couple meeting with management, and they had already told me I was going to Miss World. They started asking me to like start paying for a bunch of stuff to prep for my Miss World, like the dresses and the Wi-Fi egg and all that kind of stuff. Like little things and things that I thought that the company would pay for because you're the one sending me to Miss World, right? And so that's why I kept asking for the contract. So then I asked for the contract more aggressively the last time I asked.
Okay.
And they responded back with an email going like, here's your contract, but at the same time, we revoke your nomination to Miss World. And that was when I was in Canada already shopping for all my dresses, thinking that I'd come back because I had to like go back to Canada, grab a bunch of stuff and come back to Hong Kong, then go to Miss World.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then as soon as I got that email, I was like, wow, they're just trying to put me back in my place, because I demanded my contract at that point.
So it's just like a power play kind of
yes,
thing.
And I thought that, okay, let me just finish what I need to do here and then fly back and talk to them. And
Yeah.
I thought there was some salvation that that I could salvage the that nomination,
Yeah.
right? Because I do want to go to Miss World. It's Miss World. And then when I came back, they tricked third place to get a passport, Hong Kong passport. She was like my best friend during this entire pageant. And then they refused to also give me a meeting because I kept requesting like, hey, can we talk about this? And during one of the meetings that I had with them, which I finally had to kind of like throw in like, I've been very quiet about this whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, let's have a meeting. I kind of had to like get it that way, but because they weren't responding, so, I got to show them that, I could also do some damage, right?
Yeah, sure.
And then I went to do this meeting. They just kept telling me, oh, yeah, during the entire year of Miss Hong Kong, like, you don't have a salary, but then you'll have a lot of events and those events will pay you and things like that. Of course, the charity ones won't be as high because it's charity, blah, blah, blah. And then I was just like, what about Miss World? They were like, oh, we decided not to send you because I think you don't represent Hong Kong that well. They just gave like some bad excuse.
Okay.
Next thing you know.
Were you disappointed?
I was, of course, but what like added salt to the wound was that I got a call from third place and she's like, they offered me that position and I said yes. And that's what really killed me because she was the first, like growing up all my life, I have like guy friends, guy best friends. And so she was like my first girlfriend. And then she like took what was supposed to be mine. She knew that I was going and like all the girls did know because, we had our own separate group chat and I was like, I'm going to Miss World. And then now Emily's going to Miss World. And, that obviously hurt me a lot, that I felt so betrayed. I was just like, oh my God, I'm going to get these guys one day, And eventually they had to do a press conference for Emily to go to Miss World.
Yeah.
And even prior to the press conference, I had one of the TVB representatives come up to me going like, so you don't have to say much, that you were originally supposed to be the one. Like low-key say that to me to remind me not to tell the press that I was originally supposed to be the one to go. It was I was like sitting on that chair going like, I'm going to get my revenge one day.
So is this general knowledge now?
This is somewhat like it's okay, like so there are rumors, like people talked about it because we obviously the industry is super small. I have done some presentations like over in North America about my journey and women empowerment, that kind of stuff, and part of the story was this.
Okay.
So I don't really mind spilling this tea because
it feels almost illegal to talk about. But,
I know, but it's so funny because there was a time where I had to clean up all my Miss Hong Kong stuff, and I have a letter saying from the TVB saying, will you please expedite Juliette's Hong Kong passport because she needs to go to Miss World.
Right.
It's like there's a statement. So it's not like I would be, lying.
Yeah.
But this is the type of, when people ask me why did I leave TV, because normally first place becomes like a huge star.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is one of the biggest reasons. And this was very early on in my TVB experience. I'm talking about before December, which is like I got crowned in September.
Okay.
So like falling into that, now and then as Miss Hong Kong, you have to stay a year, and you already had burnt bridges basically, or I was about to throw fire.
Yeah.
That was, imagine life for the next year being, chained to this evil company that kind of messed with you. Yeah, like as a young 23-year-old, I was like...
Must have been a lot.
I was devastated. I got really depressed. I found myself like stuck in a contract, like stuck for a year there with no salary. If I had, and at the end of the year, I calculated how much I made. I could have been a waitress in Canada and made more money.
Oh, wow.
That's how
Insane.
crazy it is. And when people go like, and for me, like, I'm working on something, but the title is My Oh So Glamorous Life. That's sarcastic. Because people don't know that, even though I come out to all these events dressed up to the nines and like, that they have no idea like that, I'm being basically, it's just like the whole Miley Cyrus.
It's not all it's cracked up to be.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not all glitz and glamour.
I
mean, I read that kind of after you were crowned, there was a lot of clapback online about like your accent.
Right.
And like the fact that your dad nominated you and that's why you won, because your dad is a reputable designer.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
How do you, like, given all that happened with like TVB and the pageant and Miss World and all the kind of chatter online, how do you look back on that time now? Are you still like, are you grateful for the experience? Are you like,
like when people ask me like how was Miss Hong Kong, how was winning that? I have like, do you want the long answer or do you want the short answer?
Yeah, I don't want the PR answer.
No, I'm never normally giving a PR answer, especially when it's just like, just casual talk, right?
Yeah.
Like people, when they see me, that's what you get, right?
That's what I appreciated about you actually when I first met you. So that's why we're here.
I was like, I'm broken. I got my knee injury, man. Like, I'm not even supposed to be here. Like
champagne.
Champagne. Like, take advantage. I was honestly, because the whole Miss World and the TVB stuff, that to me was more of the challenge, more so than like people writing and talking crap about me online. Like for me, again, you have to be confident about yourself, right?
Sure,
you have to know yourself. So when people are writing stuff about you that's not true, you shouldn't be affected because you know the truth, right? You know the truth that, my family is not crazy well off, but my dad definitely did not pay the crown, which is what they were saying online.
Yeah.
So that I would be like, oh, Dad, I didn't know you were rich. Like, we'd be joking about that.
Yeah.
Like, where's this money then? Or we'd be talking about, oh, her accent's not great. Yes, that's true. I'm slowly learning Chinese again. But at the same time, I speak fluent French as well.
Yeah.
Like,
I also feel that would be like the appeal, that like that makes you stand out from the crowd. So
right, that I speak 3 languages, or the fact that I was just like, I had a very different mentality, like the mindset, and I think that it's too bad. And I think there was 2 sides of the coin. Like online, of course, there's like people who have all those free times, like talking crap, right? But then, to be honest, I had a lot of overwhelming messages, and this is what fueled me as well, of like young people telling me, wow, like just to see you work out and to have this result, it kind of showed, it reflected on hard work. It reflected on you being a confident person, not like letting people affect you and tell you that you're ugly and all that kind of stuff. Because yes, I was the most controversial winner, but for me, I found that like, kind of let's change this perspective. Don't use that to your, use that to your advantage and spread a more, how do you say, a more healthier message, which is, if you work hard, if you work out, if you follow proper diet, you can have a body like this. Not if you cut diet and like, do all the wrong things for losing weight, that's how you get the crown and stuff. And so that to me was what's more important. And honestly, like all the online chatter and chit chat, that kind of stuff, like if I was glued to my phone, I would probably start thinking and agreeing, and your head just starts, that's all you see. But like, you shouldn't be glued to your phone. You should, go out, enjoy life, and that really is to me like the whole no bullshit mentality, like just don't take other people's like insecurities onto your own. Like yourself. All my life, everyone said I have a nice smile, I'm tall and pretty. All of a sudden, when you have people telling you that you're ugly, you're just like, nah, I don't believe that. And that's how it should be. right?
Yeah. I mean, I've had some online random trolls on my Instagram, and I mean, I don't have that many followers, but like I'll have like messages in my private inbox telling me how stupid I am, how ugly I am.
Oh
and
my God.
For a while it did, like, because I was shocked. I was like, why is this, why
Why are you being attacked?
Yeah. But then you're right. It's the mindset of like, you believe in yourself, right? And shouldn't matter what anyone else is kind of saying
what are they
around
saying?
you.
And it really is like, who are you to tell me at the same time?
Yeah.
It's like when people tell me like, oh, she doesn't deserve to win, or, you know, her father paid for this. I'm like, where are you getting this information, first of all?
Yeah.
And so like and this is the live that kind of killed me and gave me more hate, was I did a live on Instagram, and then I talked about, and people obviously cut my phrases to make me sound more evil.
Yeah.
But at one point I said, you know, these people are just uneducated. And I'm talking about these people as in my haters. They're just uneducated of my background. So when you're telling me, for example, that my dad bought the crown or whatever, I'm going like, you don't even know me. How are you the one to tell me what I deserve or what I should feel, or, you know, like what I should do? Right. And so this is, for me, it's like the audacity, you know, that these people think that they have, you know. So again, you just, you know, focus on, you know, you're your own biggest competition. Focus on yourself, know your worth. Right. Yeah.
That's, a very important message, I think. Know your worth.
Yeah. Know your worth.
Talk to me about body image. Considering, you know, you're an actress, you've been in pageants, your body must be scrutinized. Talk to me about your relationship with that.
Man, okay, so I think the skinniest I'd have ever gotten was right after Miss Hong Kong. Because, like, during Miss Hong Kong, they also did tell me to lose weight. I think on camera, you know, your face just looks a little better. And, like, I'm more, I don't know.
Is that a thing?
You know what? It is true when they say, it is true when they say when you're on camera, you look like you're 5 pounds heavier.
Okay.
I mean, it's not like, true as in like it's relative, obviously. They don't mean it in the fact that in real life you look fat, you know, or anything like that. They just say like on camera, this is how it is. And, you know, I can somewhat agree to that because I'm an actor, right? I have seen myself in different angles and I'm like, ugh, I do look bigger than I normally am. And so when I look at my body and like all throughout all the years, I think my biggest, for me, it's like, as long as I feel healthy, you know, I need to feel good about myself. And so during that time, is it because I've worked out or I've done, you know, some treatments or things like that? You know, the most unhealthy I've ever felt was recently because of my knee injury and I wasn't able to move, right? And so I was bedridden for a couple months. I hadn't hit the gym. And for that, that's, I think, as an actor, yes, for sure I was struggling because all of a sudden you're feeling all these roles that you're not used to having. And then and honestly, that's why I decided to join Miss Universe Hong Kong this year again, because it really just gave me the opportunity to be competitive again.
Okay.
And being competitive to myself.
Yeah.
Because now I have a true reason to like have to get fit because you're about to be scrutinized by all of Hong Kong. And all of Hong Kong media. Back in Canada, you don't have that pressure as well. So I didn't find that same motivation. But that being said, like, you know, as an actor, I think you have to just, you have to you have to love yourself because we have to be vulnerable in front of camera. And sometimes we also have to play characters. And when you're not in tune with how you feel, and especially if you feel like crap, then you're not able to perform to you have little distractions because then now you're conscious about your angles or you're conscious about like, you know, your body and you're just like, no, I don't want to show that side. So like, yes, it's definitely like, you know, really important for me to feel healthy, to feel fit again. And and like as an actor, I think it's part of the industry. You do have to, it's part of the job. I am a model because of the way that I look, right?
Do you feel the pressure to kind of keep that up? Like, what is your relationship with food?
Right.
I mean, like, for example, people talk about like cheat meals all the time. And I have this huge thing where I don't like to use that word because that creates a negativity in
like
my
a
head.
guilt,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
And I don't think that I should be deprived of something or depriving myself of a certain type of food. If I'm going to have French fries or a burger, I'm going to have a French fries and a burger
and
like
not
love
feel
it.
guilty. Yeah.
And so I kind of change. Again, it's like about the mindset. Like I change it from cheat to treat.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love that. So, actually during that Miss Hong Kong year, because I was so surprised that so many girls were doing it wrong, I kept trying to preach the whole like, yes, you gotta be healthy, you gotta eat like diet properly or like have proper portions. You don't need to eat more than you need to, but you gotta live. You're also a young person,
balance,
or like
right?
you gotta,
Yeah.
it's your experience, right? Don't deprive yourself from delicious, goodness. I'm not saying like, to do that every day, but like enjoy yourself. You gotta have fun in life too, right? Like part of why I like to say that I work out so much is because I can enjoy these meals. Like, I would like to say it cancels out, and as long as you're not doing it every day. And so
Are you watching what you eat?
I don't like count calories,
Okay.
but I do like, yesterday I did have a filet-o-fish and some fries.
Yes.
And it's because I was just like, I've been craving this for forever and I haven't eaten it in like over 3 weeks, you know? So I would never deprive myself for food, especially food is something that's incredibly important to me. I love food. I love travel. Yeah, I am a foodie. I have like a chef Juliette highlights. I cook a lot myself.
Yeah. Okay.
And because I know how to cook, I appreciate food a lot more. Especially coming to Asia, like when I travel, oh my gosh, I'm a little bit of a fat boy inside, like a fat little girl inside, but in a most, fun, enjoyable way, don't deprive yourself, have fun, live life, that's my relationship with food.
YOLO.
Yeah.
YOLO. All right, we're gonna kind of cycle to the next station a little bit.
Love it.
I read that you were a competitive volleyball player.
Oh yeah.
Tell me about that. Like, has fitness, sports, movement always been a part of your like being?
Life? Yes, absolutely. Like growing up, I was such a tomboy. Love hanging on monkey bars and that kind of stuff. I think like. And then as soon as you get into your adulthood, you start getting a little scared. Because I'm like, whoa, I'm 5'8", and like now the ground looks a little further than me. When you fall. Volleyball is something that I discovered when I moved to Canada.
Okay.
I mean, I played it in Hong Kong, but not competitively. And then when I realized Canadians could really play volleyball, I was like, wow, I got to get into this. And so I used to compete, prior to the knee injury. And that, to be honest, that's how I got, that's how I tore my ACL and damaged my meniscus. So, volleyball came when I was in Canada. Again, I used to do the whole dance. I picked it up real quickly. I think because I was a dancer, it's easy for us to mimic movements.
Yeah.
And it's a fun team sport. You do learn a lot about sportsmanship. I think that's very important, and that's key to being a team player. And so that kind of also circles back to being a big sister to the girls, because you need to be a team player. And it's like women supporting women as well. So like you got to support your own teammate, that kind of stuff. And then... the thing I love about volleyball is that because when you're on the court and you're really just focusing on the ball and the game, you kind of escape from all the other stresses in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so volleyball was kind of more so like a leisure, pleasure, competitive thing that I did.
Yeah.
If people ask me, what do you like to do to like, disconnect yourself from it, it would be volleyball.
Okay.
Yeah, I love it.
And what's your like sweat of choice?
Ooh, it It would be volleyball, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like, but if I don't play volleyball, I do like going to the gym to lift weights.
Yeah.
I like to do the weights. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cardio. If I had to pick one, it'd be the ski erg.
Okay.
I don't know why I love that.
Have you done high rocks?
Yes.
You did.
I almost died the first time.
Okay. How many times have you done it?
Because it was the first time. I once.
Okay.
Because, well, the first time I did it was when I came back for the whole Miss Universe thing.
Yeah.
And so I was aggressively trying to get fit, but I just didn't have time to go to those classes because of the schedule. I did it the first time, and I was like, I like it, but I'm also way behind in terms of like cardio and things. Did
you do it by yourself?
I did it in a class at XP.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I was just like, wow, like, and you had all these like middle-aged people kicking my ass. You know, so that to me was like a reality check, and I was still like, I'm still recovering from my knee.
Yeah.
So there were certain exercises that was definitely a lot tougher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So would you say movement and like working out is like a non-negotiable for you?
Yes. Yeah. Fitness, health, movement is a must.
Yeah.
In my life. Yeah.
That's great. What was your last workout?
With you, it was it's Sculpt, right?
Yes.
Oh man, that was a tough one to keep up.
Well, you are a dancer, so you know how to mimic movement, right? And it's all about that, right? So we did a family form sculpt class in a heated environment.
Oh my gosh.
It's all about sweat, connect, and grow. As you know, this podcast is all about that. What did you learn about yourself during that session?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so a couple of things. I'd be like, okay, I needed to really, you know, sometimes when you work out and you're just like, I gotta get through this, and you're not really pushing yourself, or you don't have that motivation to like hold your body up in the proper position. You know, sometimes you'll just do the movement. I think that's what was lacking for me yesterday. Part of the reason was because I was just, recovering from sickness, and that was my first class.
Yeah.
But also, what I learned, I think most was just the fact that I couldn't, like for me, I was like, I gotta go at my own pace.
Yeah.
And that was something that I know that I didn't feel guilty about, because you were going like real fast. And I was like, okay, in my mind, like I'm sure you were doing it at your normal pace, but like in my mind, I was like, I can't follow as fast because, limited mobility, sick, whatever.
Yeah.
But I was okay with being like, I'm going to get up and go take an aircon break for like 2 minutes, because I knew like my body was telling me to do that. And there's no shame in that. Right. So for me, that was like me going like, oh, I'm okay with this. Because normally like I'm super competitive.
Yes.
Normally I'm like, I got this. Don't be a bitch, like keep going. But like and I kept telling myself that for the second part of the workout, for the first like 5 minutes. And then I was like, no, Juliette, you really need a break. And then that's when I was just like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? I'm okay with that. That's what I learned about myself yesterday.
And what did you learn about me?
I was like, you're so focused. Like, not once did I make eye contact with you. And I love that. And I love that you were super focused on that. Because over here, I don't know if you noticed, but at one point I was also singing to the music.
Yes.
Because I was trying to like
have
have
had
fun
the time of my life.
Yeah. And it was funny because I did a commercial with that song. So that's why I was like vibing to that. And I was just like, wow, like the whole time you were so focused. And for me, maybe because it was my first class, I was just like,
yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. I mean, so what I learned about you, I think, like as you mentioned, there was a few times that you did pause. You did have a little aircon break.
Yeah.
So I feel like you're someone that knows their limitations.
Right.
And that you're also someone that perseveres, though, on the same breath, because you came back and you pushed through, even when you had your limitations, like you have your knee injury, so you kind of knew which movements were not right for you, but you still did it.
Yes.
So I feel like you kind of like stop, you dust yourself off, and then you move forwards.
Yes.
Would you say that's a fair assessment in even in life?
And that's and that's exactly what it is. Even if on stage, I've touched wood, never tripped on stage.
Oh.
But if I did, I would dust myself up and continue walking like I normally would.
Yeah.
Like we're human. We make mistakes, right?
Yeah.
And there are definitely many challenging moments in my life.
Yeah.
But once you find that motivation again, once you find that, you come back to being who you are, then I think that really goes to show that, like, your strength, like the perseverance for me is huge. Yeah.
So given, like, all of your volleyball matches, your dance, not competitions,
journeys,
but what would you say has been your biggest takeaway with your kind of movement journey?
Ooh. You know what? It really has to do back with, like, my knee. Because I thought that, this to me was really hard to get back that full bend.
Okay.
And then I'm still working on the extension, the hyperextension.
Yeah.
I thought for the longest time that I wasn't gonna be able to get back the body that I wanted, or the being able to sit cross-legged.
Yeah.
And this morning I was doing my makeup sitting cross-legged, and like that. To the biggest lesson is for me, like, you can get it back.
Yeah.
It just takes time. It takes a long time, and it's very frustrating at times.
Yes.
And yes, like, I'm not a very patient person.
Patience is beautiful.
But yeah, I know, and I really got to learn about that, honestly. And I mean, when you're really competitive and you can't do certain things, you stress, there are times where, I've cried and I'm like, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to jump that high, be as competitive. But maybe the answer is just time and training. You got to be disciplined too, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, is time is coming back to be like, yes, you can look great again, and you can eventually feel good again.
Yeah.
It just takes time. Yeah.
So what is next for you? Are you still, is your foot still in the pageant pond?
Man.
I mean, Miss, what was it?
Miss Face of Humanity.
Yeah. That was this year.
No, that was like a couple years ago. But this year was Miss Universe.
Okay,
yeah. And that in itself has its own tea as well. To be honest,
is this an exclusive?
yeah, but I'm still under contract. So
okay.
maybe eventually, maybe next year.
Yeah. Season 2 podcast. I'll invite you back. Yeah.
I think for pageantry is the thing is, you can't really go up from Miss Universe unless I'm competing for another country. So, you just need a passport. That's all the eligibility. I have 3 passports, so I still got 2 other shots.
Okay.
That being said, I have my core goal in life, which is to still do the whole actor Hollywood thing.
Yeah.
And so I need to focus on that. And then at the same time, in pageant world, the older you get, the harder it is.
Yeah.
It's a fact. I'm not saying it's not impossible, because now Miss Universe did open the age to be, unlimited. Oh. But that being said, again, you can't. It's going to be very hard for like a 50-year-old to compete. So with pageantry, it's like, I'm kind of like, I think I've almost retired. I want to say I am retired, but because I didn't get the result that I wanted this time around, I wouldn't be close to the idea to represent Canada or Macau again.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do Hong Kong again unless I know Hong Kong, it's being run by like Hong Kong locals and professionals.
Yeah.
Because this time it was run by an international company,
Okay.
privately. So, and that already leaks a little bit. And so, but
So
in terms of
interesting.
trying to get back to like back on track and to what I really want to do,
Yeah.
that's what I want to focus on. And then also opening a coaching business here.
You mentioned that when
Yeah.
we met.
Yeah.
I found that super intriguing, and I'm curious about that.
Yeah, to be honest, so I've been coaching for the last 5 years, and I do it one-on-one based on my clients' like needs and where they want to go. Most of them, half of them are talent development, which is trying to get into the industry, into the commercial modeling, acting world in Canada, which I've, experienced myself and can help them with. Because I'm like the queen of commercials over there. I'm always booking stuff, which I'm very grateful for. And then the other half is pageantry. So, of course, a lot of young girls in Hong Kong have, or in Canada, actually have hired me to coach them through their pageant journey. And, obviously.
The big sister.
Yeah, the big sister. So, and I love doing that because I have so much experience.
Yeah.
And I will mentally, not just like physically prepare them for catwalking, which is like, to be honest, is definitely a challenge because I think I think a lot of women don't even know how to walk in heels just to begin with, right? So forget about the catwalk. Are you able to walk in heels without looking super awkward, right? But that alone, that's the physical aspect. But in terms of the mentality, I think that's what's really important as well.
Yeah.
A lot of my clients always come to me because they're more local. They're always worried about the media and what the media will say. And for me, I'm like, you're not even in the competition yet. Why are you worrying about that? Right? But that is something that we are constantly talking about. The family judgment, or like once the news is out, what would their friends say? So like for me, prepping them mentally with the proper mindset of competition, but at the same time like being a teammate, like that kind of stuff, that's more important to me than the catwalk itself, because I think you are your own biggest competition, and if you are not secure and confident in yourself, then you're gonna let all these people tell you what to do or who you are or say all these things about you, then you're gonna easily break. And you can't have a winner is the leader, the first place shouldn't be so fragile. It should have a strong mentality. So that's why, I think that's why I think this coaching business is a need in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Because the support's not there in the Hong Kong pageantry world. It's very online. It's very like judged based on what the media says. So there's definitely a need for that coaching. But also, yes, of course, I'll coach you for, the audition process. The catwalking is important too. If you can do everything else, then it should be a breeze,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like giving back.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to be able to, it's not like, definitely not like warn the girls, but it's to prep their expectations as well. Because this industry is ruthless. You are dealing with the monopoly company that owns everything here.
Yeah.
So, just set their expectations so they won't be disappointed at the same time, but also be able to play the game. How are they able to, because of what I know, how can they use that to their advantage to make themselves come first place or place 1, 2, 3,
And you have this real kind of women supporting women mentality. So I feel that really kind of comes through.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to wrap up with a lightning round.
Ooh, what's the lightning round?
A lightning round. Just going to fire some questions at you, and just don't think about it too hard. They're just, what first thing that comes to your mind.
Oh gosh.
Kind of thing,
okay. Here we go.
I think I've already asked you this one, but let's go again. Go to sweat.
Go to sweat, volleyball.
Go to treat meal.
Shake fries, McDonald's. Seaweed seasoning.
Okay.
It's my favorite.
Okay, you're a true Hong Kong gal.
Yeah.
Go to skincare product.
Ooh. Face wash. The Perfect Whip. Yeah. I love.
Is that a brand?
Yeah, I think the Perfect Whip. It's it's a brand. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a skincare washing cleanser thing. Yeah.
Okay. Go to stress reliever.
Volleyball.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Volleyball. Or food.
that's interesting that you say that. I'm a very big whenever I'm stressed or sad or whatever, I work out. I move in whatever capacity, and then it's an instant like kind of mood lifter.
Because you're just thinking about something else.
Yeah. You sweat it out.
So volleyball or food, actually.
Okay. Yeah. Go to travel destination.
Oh, there's so many. I can't pick. So far, Vietnam.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because
whereabouts?
Da Nang. I've only been there once, but it's got the weather. It's got the local food.
The food.
The beach.
The food.
Yeah. And cheapness. The fact that it's so cheap over there.
Yeah.
You know.
Go to morning routine.
I was gonna say
what is your morning
washroom.
routine?
It's the first thing you do, you know. I would say wash my face and put the eyebrows on.
Okay.
Super easy. I'm like the most simplest girl ever. Really, my skincare routine, it really is just cleanser and moisturizer.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so basic.
For this surprising for a pageant girl.
Yeah, like I said, I'm tomboy turned into pageant girl.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Go to self-care ritual.
Oh, I like that one. It would be literally allocating time off and just doing couch potatoing, sleeping.
Yeah.
I love sleeping.
Yeah. That really resonates with me. I think I was just saying earlier that I work for myself.
Yes.
So I find it very difficult to find that balance of like work and me time, because some of the things that I do,
it's 24/7.
Yeah, I love doing them so much that I don't see it as work.
Absolutely.
So it's really kind of like finding those moments where like I'm not doing anything work related, not filming content even.
Yes,
nothing.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like allocating a certain amount of time and like actually turning off everything and doing jack shit.
So I actually schedule that in my calendar, like being the kind of type A person that I am.
Same. I'm like,
Time
okay,
off,
which day am I sleeping in and I can do nothing this day? Yeah,
exactly.
I get it.
Exactly. Go to app.
Instagram.
It's been a popular one.
I mean, it's an addiction. It's not my go-to app. I like to say it's just chatting with people.
What's your most useful app?
Useful app? Ooh, so far right now it's the conversion app, because I think Canadian dollars. I'm just trying to be like, what's the conversion again?
Do you listen to podcasts or read books?
Not all the time, but I do. But actually, what go-to app aside from Instagram? Spotify.
Okay.
Because I am a music person. If I'm not doing anything, I'm literally listening to music all the time.
Okay, so then this is going to be the last one. Go to music playlist.
Ooh, it would be my lo-fi, soft rock, hip hop.
Oh.
Yeah.
Soft rock.
Bon
it's
Jovi? Not more so like Cannons. Do you know who they are? Okay. No. They did Fire For You. That's, I think, their more popular song. It's a super like
it's a Canadian
chill
thing.
No, not even. It's just super like chill type of music. It's a best way to describe it's like cigarettes after sex. And that's also a band as well.
Okay.
And they are super chill, like kind of like vibe music, like driving music.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Super
okay.
chill.
Okay. Well, we'll leave it there until next time, where tea will be spilled. Tea will be spilled. So we'll invite you back, and we'll chat some more about like certain developments.
Yes.
Juliette Louie, not Lewis. It was an absolute pleasure. I love hearing your story.
Thank you.
You're doing inspiring things.
Thank you, Avi.
Keep shining your light. And we will sweat another time again soon, I'm sure. Thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us on Move, Sweat, Discover. If you like this episode, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.